What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another hour of Good Chalk, Bad Chalk. My name is Brady Klotz. My co-host is Mike Somich, and we're happy to bring you guys the last four races here at Gulfstream Park today. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy that you're back with us, man. You went big time there presenting. I mean, I didn't even know what to expect that you were up at the Eclipse Awards giving love to horse players. I loved it.
Hey, somebody's got to stand up for him, and so I was happy to do it. So yeah, it was fun. Went out to LA Eclipse Awards last week. The funny thing is that I had planned on like a speech and everything, and then they're like, "Oh, I don't actually think you're going to talk," and then they're like, "Hey, get up there and say something." I was like, "Okay, how about a shout out to the horse players and everybody that supports this game?" So it was a lot of fun. Met so many industry people, trainers, owners. Riders. I mean, it was just absolutely a blast, and I can't wait to go back. Hopefully, to win an Eclipse Award one day.
Yeah, I mean,
that's now the goal.
You got to give away the most prestigious award of the night, right?
Horse
Player of the Year is by far the most prestigious.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Justin Mustari, who won the NHC last year. Was able to present it to another Chicago guy, and we were probably the two youngest guys in the room. Justin's 26 and I just turned 31. And so I said, "Hey, Justin, we're going to be playing these tournaments for like the next 30, 35 years. And so it was fun to get to know him and his dad, Frank, who's been a horse player for a long time, and spend a day at Santa Anita with them and their family and get to know those guys and make a few more friends in the horse racing world.
Yeah, man, we talked about it all the time on the show. The tournament scene's awesome because of the people you get to meet. It's a great way to get to go and play the horses with some friends.
It is. So glad that you guys could join us today. We've got 3 minutes before Gulfstream, which I actually just got back from. I was at Gulfstream on Saturday and Sunday. So I took a red eye from Santa Anita Friday night, got out of the Super Bowl craziness and went to Gulfstream, and then went Super Bowl party. And now I'm back working in Indiana in the middle of a snowstorm. So happy to be live with you guys. What up, Pedlo, Nick? Yeah, nice lunch hour surprise. We're trying this a little bit different. We're going to do a big track on a Thursday and see how many of you guys want to tune in with us. Mike, we got 3 minutes and they're on the track. Let's dive in. This is a kind of a short field. We got a lot of scratches today at Gulfstream as the races came off the turf and it rained overnight again. Where did you start here? It looks like the favorite's even money and it's going to be pretty tough, but can we beat the favorite?
I mean, I'm going to try to, mainly because of the surface we're on here. I mean, we always talk about this. You sort first by pace a lot of times when you're using the Equinedge application. That's the place I start. And you'll see an obvious lone speed here with Forest Survivor, the 2-horse. Normally, this would be a horse that I would play, but the synthetic, I just don't want the speed. And I think that you're going to have New York's Finest and possibly the 7-horse press a little bit here and create make Forest Survivor's life a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to chuck the even money shot out here. I'm going to hope that we can get someone from off the pace. I like Granger County on top, the 4-horse. And I'm going to be using the 5 New York Finest in my pick 4 as well. I'll scroll that on the bottom. I know you've got your pick 5 ticket up on Twitter as well. There's my late pick 4. I'm going to start out here with 4 and 5.
Yep. No, absolutely. And, on the synthetic track specifically, speed has not been friendly, and especially speed on the rail. Yep. And so I expect Irad, as he's breaking from virtually the 1 post, he's going to be speed on the rail. We've seen speed do a little bit better in the 5 furlong races compared to the mile and 16th races on the synthetic. We're going to find out, how good this pace number is in this race. He's got a 14-point differential between the second highest horse, which is the 7. I couldn't leave out the 2. I didn't want him to beat me, use him defensively. I like New York's Finest a lot in this spot. I think he's going to trip out very well. I like the race. I like Miguel Vasquez. Peter Walder usually does pretty well down here at Gulfstream. And this horse has been knocking on the door. And I think the 5 furlongs is going to shorten it up for him a little bit and give him a nice run at the 2-horse here. We've got 0 minutes to post. I did use both of them on my pick 5 ticket. I thought this was a possible exact opportunity as well. Either New York's Finest gets up and Forest Survivor, slows down near to the wire, or Forest Survivor goes on as he has an easy lead, and New York's Finest was the horse that was going to be running late.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as an opportunity to play a cold try here too. I think that the 6 and the 7 have 0 shot at hitting the board in this spot. I think the 2, 4, 5 are clearly the top 3. I originally had the 2 on some tickets, but at the price, even money, I just wasn't interested. I mean, if I got 3 to 1 on the 2-horse, I would be something different. But to be against this much of a track bias to me it's a pretty tough spot to take even money or 6 to 5. I ended up playing a straight try. I played 2 tries. I played 5, 4, 2 heavier, and I played 5, 2, 4 a little bit lighter. Trying to just nail it cold and see if we can get a nice payout on that. Because I do think you'll probably get somewhere around 15 to 1 if you can accurately project which one of those is going to hit.
Yeah, and I expect maybe the 2 to float up a little bit. In the pick 3 will pays, there's only a $4 differential between the 2 and the 5. And so there's obviously a lot of support that's going to be going on New York's finest as well. Battle at Blenheim, the 6 horse. I was trying to figure out, kind of, what we're doing in this spot. They're trying something new here with Battle of Blenheim. I don't know that this horse is a sprinter. And so let's take a look at the GSR Plus here. Looks like the best surface by far is turf for this horse.
Yep.
And, looks like the horse is probably going to want to go longer on turf. Longer on turf looks like to be where this horse wants to be. So I don't see the horse, finishing anywhere close here. And then we also said the 7, we really didn't see. This is Jaramillo, and when Jaramillo isn't going to get the lead, he's going to be pressing. I like him best when he's up front. And so, maybe play along with Mike's trifecta there, kill his odds, kill his price down a little bit.
Yeah, the 7 the last 2 times has been close to lead on the synthetic and faded to 5th and 6th. And you mentioned Battle of Blenheim. This is a 7-year-old war front horse, 23 tries on the turf, never tried any other service his career. So it's kind of surprising to see the 6 here, or I'm sorry, tried faster once when it came off the turf and had a 21 buyer and did terribly. So really almost every single start on the turf, entered for the turf every time. Interesting to find the horse here on synthetic. I would probably fade away from Battle of Blenheim, even though this is like, a lot of times that's how I like to find long shots. But in this case, I think the 6 is just wildly overmatched.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the races New York's finest is coming out of, at least the last 2. Now a 4-year-old. The horse figures here, has been just knocking on the door, looks a little bit sharper at 5 than 5.5. And, if we can get against the track bias of, or if we can go with the track bias of the speed horses on the synthetic on the rail, coming back to the field late in the stages here, maybe we can get this 5 home New York's finest. Anything live here, Mike, besides the try? I'm live in the pick 5. I have a $1 ticket, single to the 2, and then I have a 50-cent ticket that's using the 2 and the 5.
Yeah, I have a 50-cent pick 5 ticket going with the 4 and the 5. Unfortunately, I went down in flames in that first leg on my $5 ticket. I had the 1 horse, and Jose tried to split, and it didn't go well. Instead of squealing wide, and he got in trouble in the turn. It wasn't one of the better rides we've seen from Jose Ortiz. But that was a nice price, $11 on the first-time starter with IRAD aboard last week.
Absolutely. In the pick 5 paid almost $4,500. What I looked at here is I sorted by GSR, and this horse was a first-time starter going against kind of a weak maiden claiming group. And we had 31% win here on 8, Lean on the Lion. So you got 9-2, $11.60. Looks like they're loading, so we're going to head on over to the live feed here. Good luck if you guys have any tickets going. Looks like Bill is singling the 2 here in the 6. Good luck to you, Bill. I was going to play an exacta, but now that I'm live in the pick 5, I think I'm gonna hold off. But I'd probably be playing something like a 2-5 here. I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's going to be all about whether or not the speed holds here. Because the 2 has a paced edge, good enough to win. I think the 5 is probably the best horse, and with the best horse and the pace bias, I kind of lean toward the 5 in this spot. But the 2 does have an edge from a pace perspective. It'll just be whether or not he's going to be able to go wire to wire here, or gate to wire.
All right, looks like Alec is also in the snowstorm that I'm in, playing a 2-5. And look who gets the lead, the 5.
Now this is trouble for the 2, because the 2 is going to fire through still. And it's going to be tough for the 2 now to use here to get there, and the 5 is going to sit right on his flank. The 4 is tripping out right behind him.
And the 2 is not used to having this much pressure. I didn't think the 2 would have this much pressure. I'd give me the 5 at 3-5 right now. I'd probably take it.
If the 4 is good enough, the 4 wins this race. We'll see though. But I think it's the 4 or the 5. That 2 needed to be loose on the lead to be able to get the W. They went quickly there, so this 4 is going to wheel wide and has every chance.
He's going to make one run. Let's see if they spent too much on the front end.
And the 6, Battle of Blenheim's actually running well now. Track bias says this is going 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep, there he was. In a 5-horse field, 3 horses go for the lead, and they absolutely killed all of their chances. And the 2 even fought back. Is probably going to get second.
He's going to get nose. 4-5-2. Oh, jeez.
There you go. So much for the hype for my tickets. And at least Gulfstream pays 4 out of 5.
Yes, they do. They like to take care of you with that one. That's a situation where that pace just completely changes when New York's finest breaks that well. And it completely hinders the 2 horse. The 2's not winning without a clear lead ever in that race. And so once he doesn't get it, it makes it really tough for that 2 to be able to do the job.
And I'm really surprised that Vasquez chose, to continue. When you break that well, it's kind of like, all right, we're only going 5. I don't really want to pull back. We know Rosario probably would have sat off the pace or something like that, but that was wild to not even give your horse a chance. You got to know the running style of your horse, and you got to know the track bias. So there's the 4.
I mean, I'm surprised the 5 didn't back off more, but I also think, like you said, it's only 5 furlongs. Nice, Nick. Way to go, man.
Yeah, nice hit there, Nick.
Once you're going 5 furlongs, you really got to make your decision quickly, and you don't want to fall 2-3 lengths back and give the 2 that easy lead. And so it just puts that 5 horse in a conundrum when you break that well, because you don't want to break on the lead, but you also don't want to fall 2 back and have no pressure. So you kind of end up doing the dirty work here for the 4 horse.
Yeah, and he did it, and it was just like a breeze for him, just absolutely a dream trip. And so there you have it. That was Ralph Nix and Tyler Gaffalione. Nice to see Tyler winning. He's had a few struggles lately, kind of getting out of the gate in some of these races, but the 4 horse from a pace perspective. If you saw New York's Finest breaking like that, and you saw the 7 pressing, then there you go. You had the 4 to sit the perfect trip.
Yep. Yeah, and we're going to talk a lot about the synthetic course. Gaffalione's been one of the riders who's ridden the synth really, really well. He and Castellano and Jose Ortiz, ironically, the 3 of them have been dominating the synthetic there. IRAD obviously always gives a pretty good ride on any course, but it seems like they've really picked up the track bias. And I was joking about this at HC. Castellano loves going wide. You want to be wide on this track anyway, so it's really just playing into his hands of how he generally rides horses.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Ralph Nix and Gaffalione are 38% together in 24 starts. So something to pay attention with. Ralph Nix gives Gaffalione the call for his horses, especially on the synthetic.
Yeah, and this is a good example of being able to draw lines through races as well. If you look at the last 4, so last time out, Granger County ran at 6 furlongs at Gulfstream Park on the dirt, faded and didn't run well. 3 times ago, Tampa Bay on the dirt, faded, didn't run that well on $100,000 stakes. The 2 other races in this last cycle, both on the synthetic, both better than those 2 races. Lost to Henry's World, who actually scratched out here, the 3 horse, and lost to Frenchman Street. And Frenchman Street is 3 for 3 over the surface. So those are actually very sneaky good races. And you could kind of see the form was much better on the synthetic here for the 4 Granger County.
No, absolutely. And he took late money too. And so I've noticed a lot of late odds changes at Gulfstream recently. So the smart money's coming in late, and it definitely did there on the 4. So somebody knew that there was going to be a little bit of a pace collapse there. So there you have it. Official 4-5-2. Then Battle of Blenheim sneaks in there for the 4th spot. We're going to kind of bounce around, guys, today. We're going to talk about the Fairgrounds card as well. We have the Risen Star this weekend. And so, I mean, the Fairgrounds day is just absolutely loaded. I mean, this is probably the best betting day that I've seen in a little while. Mike, did you have a race that you wanted to start out with? We've got a ton of stakes races, and we can kind of go through them all in between. But I thought maybe we'd just head on over to race 7 at Fairgrounds and start from there.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Okay, this is the 4-year-olds and up 5.5 furlong sprint on the turf, and probably the horse that's going to be taking a lot of money for favoritism is the 2 Just Might, who absolutely loves the Fairgrounds turf course, and we can see has a clear pace advantage. Now, the one thing I will say about Fairgrounds is the stretch is very long, and so that's a track where I'm screaming wire, probably more than any other track, especially when I've got the lead too early in late stretch. But we've got some interesting horses also to talk about. The top pick, Toro Strike, that's coming over from across the pond. And so this one's kind of be an uncertainty here. Maybe a European with a longer stretch that doesn't break as fast as what the other American horses do might have a shot late in the game. And then we've got Cowan here for Asmussen that Rosario gets the call on. And so, we've got a decent amount of good horses in here. Where did you go, Mike?
Look, I think Just Might is just too tough here. We just talked about a pace bias or having that pace advantage with that last 2 horses who ended up not getting it. Just Might will 100% have the pace advantage in this spot. The last 2 races are good enough to beat this field. I hear you on the long stretch. I don't think it's going to make a big difference, especially what we've seen from this horse the last 2 times on this racetrack. Absolutely just air the field. I think this is going to be one of those horses I think you can rely on as a single. In a lot of the sequences, you got a middle card pick 4 here that's starting, and Fairgrounds kind of runs a pick 4 every 2 races just so that they burn through your bankroll if you're not able to crush it. This is one of those spots where I'm probably going to be singling Just Might. I mean, 3 race win streak, the last 2 on turf. He was DQ'd last time, but I think was clearly the best horse in that spot, regardless of that DQ. I think he's going to be able to go wire to wire here. What about you?
I would agree, and I love this horse especially at Fairgrounds. I think this is probably a stone cold single in your multi-race wagers. Try to build something around Just Might. I feel like this is kind of a soft spot for this horse,
Yeah.
and so the horse has been winning at this level and even a little bit better. And so you've got his home track, you've got a huge speed advantage, 33% win. I just think everything's pointing to Just Might, and if you don't single Just Might, you could probably use any other horse. I mean, I'd go Turo Strike. I was watching some replays over in Europe, and the horse has a nice late turn of foot. So I could definitely see the 6, finishing in the money, maybe to give you a little bit of a price on your exotics. And I don't really know what I'm going to get from Cowan. This horse has kind of disappointed me. We see was favored 3 times in a row, only got the job done once against a level that was weaker than this twice. And so was also the beneficiary of that DQ to get placed first last time. And so if you guys remember that DQ, it was highly questionable to say the least. And Just Might was so much the best. And I bet Just Might that day, and he got taken down and placed 8th. And so, on the paper, it's going to show that Cowan got the victory. But if you go back and watch the replay on that race, you'll know who was clearly the best horse.
Yeah, I think Cowan actually benefits from this lone speed in Just Might here as well, because you're not really going to see much pressure to Just Might, and Cowan's going to sit right behind him and not really have that much pressure on him either. I think you might just see a merry-go-round race with the 2-1-3 here. The other interesting, so both the 1 and the 3 are kind of interesting just from a trainer perspective. Cowan is in for the Asmussen barn. I'm not a huge Asmussen turf guy, especially in stakes races. But when you go back and you look at what this horse has done, I mean, he ran second to Golden Pal at Keeneland in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. So heck of a race there. I would say the best races from this horse are all on the turf. So I think Cowan's interesting in that sense. And then if you go down to the 3, 7 cents, I mean, this is a reclaim from Carl Broberg. He had him in his barn for a while, ran him in a couple stakes races, and all of a sudden you see his career best effort last time out as a 6-year-old. I mean, look, this horse has improved the last 2 starts. I would expect if he can improve again, he's right there in the mix. And Broberg and Gutierrez have been absolutely on fire, especially Gutierrez, man. He's been just incredible right now at Fairgrounds.
Yeah. Is Raylu getting a nice Christmas card for NHC hit on Wolfie's Dynaghost? Because that was your $64 winner on Saturday.
That was one of the 2 cappers I had. He'd get a solid high five and any drink he wants if I ever get to actually meet him.
All right, Raylu, if you're listening, hit up Mike for that. He's willing to pay up. So no, I love Golden Sense. I love him, especially sprinting on the turf, and so always looking out for them. As far as this race goes, yep, I think pretty simple. Let us know what you guys think here at Fairgrounds. We're going to head to the next race now, race 8 here. This would be, I believe, let's see. Actually, let's go race 9 to the greatest stakes. Past the plate here, going 1 mile and a 16th for mares 4-year-olds and up, another non-graded stakes race. And this is another horse that just absolutely loves a long stretch. The late turn of foot on Past the Plate is something I've been following this horse for a number of years now. And if I can get any kind of pace up front, I figured we'd probably attract somebody like Rosario to ride this horse. As you see, the horse comes from dead last, as it only has a 4 pace number. And so the EE Morning Line also likes this horse. We've got, no real clear pace advantage according to the Equine Edge pace figures. And so I felt like this might be a race that doesn't get too strung out, and maybe Past the Plate won't be as far back. So it's kind of one of those things where if you have 2 or 3 true speed horses in the race, you're going to get that pace. But if you really don't have that much of a differential, maybe they slow it down the whole way.
Yeah, this is one of those. I think it's going to be tough to really judge who's going to be up front. I think you have to look at the jockeys and kind of make a decision who's going to press the pace here. I mean, 6, we got CJ Hernandez, and the 8, we've got Brian Hernandez. So it's going to be interesting to see who decides to push. I think the 8 is probably going to end up making the lead here. I like Sherry DeVoe quite a bit. She's the trainer on the 8, 33% trainer at Fairgrounds, 19% overall. She used to be Chad Brown's assistant. If you don't know her, she's very, very talented, especially on the turf. I think she's going to make a name for herself in the upcoming years and kind of be a little bit more of a staple in the training game. I respect the 8 quite a bit here. I think that Amici's going to be a tough horse to get by down the lane if she is able to get loose. And I like the fact that this is a 4-year-old who's improving, faced 3-year-olds and up last year, middle through the campaign, actually broke her maiden 3-year-olds and up at Ellis Park over the turf, and then a 1 here against 3-year-olds and up, and a $45,000 non-winners 1 allowance. So, I mean, I think she's got every shot to win, but the problem is she really needs to improve. I look through here and I just can't get past the 3-horse Abscond. I think 7-2 is a wonderful price. I think there's no way in heck you're getting this price without the last race where Abscond just didn't like the good turf. And I'm willing to kind of draw a line through that and say, okay, it is a good turf issue, because if you go back, only other time she ran a good turf was in the Just a Game. She ran one of her worst races. Actually, the only 2 times she's not run a 90 Byron in the last 7 efforts have both been off good turfs. So if you kind of look at what she wants from a turf perspective, if it is firm, I think Abscond is awfully tough. You're getting 7-2 on the morning line in a spot where she was sub 2-1 last time. I think she was like 6-5, 7-5. So you're getting a lot better value here if you do get anywhere near that 7-2.
And we're getting a clear SOR drop. As you can see, she's been racing against 78s, 80s, 78s, and higher than 72s. This is a 68 group, so she definitely faces a softer field. The 7-2 morning line is kind of a joke. You're not going to get anywhere near that. I see probably something around 7-5, 3-2. But if you play the horizontal wagers and maybe have a pick 3 live tour, I think that's probably your best bet. I got to look at Past the Plate here. I love this horse so much, and it's getting a little bit of a class relief according to the SOR. Second start as a 4-year-old, ran good last time, with Lasix, and so I think that might be key for this horse as well. And I see this ending up as like a pack race. I don't see really anybody having that clear of a pace advantage, and so what I'm hoping is that Pedroza keeps Past the Plate at least within striking distance. I love the long stretch for a closer like this. And we'll see what happens down the lane. So I'm going to go with Past the Plate as my top pick there. Let us know who you guys like in the chat here. If you guys aren't playing this day, then you might as well not even play, because this card is absolutely loaded.
And real quick, too, yeah. Nick mentions Dawn's Dancer here. I think Dawn's Dancer is interesting. One of my favorite angles is leaving the Gulfstream synthetic when you showed speed. And this horse last time out was on the lead over the synthetic course, which is something you just don't want to be. So this second, but only a quarter length back. It was not a great spot for Dawn's Dancer that entire race. To me, that's when you just kind of draw a line through it. And now we're getting back to the turf course. I think this is a good spot for Dawn's Dancer as well, if you do want to try and take some type of a price here.
Yeah, good there. Chris Davis and Jose Ortiz is actually coming over to ride. And so no Jose at Gulfstream this weekend. And like you had mentioned, Gulfstream synthetic going over shipping out to turf because of the speed disadvantage that they may have at the Gulfstream surface.
Yep, exactly. I'm looking like if you get to be against the bias at Gulfstream and then go anywhere else, you got to assume you're going to improve. And to be honest, breaking from the A post last time out, being close to the pace and finishing third, only missing by 2, is actually a very good, sneaky good race from Dawn's Dancer.
Absolutely. Okay, that's Fairgrounds race 9. Let's go back to Gulfstream here and maybe put together like a late pick 3. This is kind of a wide open race as well. 2-1's the favorite. We're going 1 mile and 70 yards in the synthetic. And so, obviously we're going to have to see who's going to be on the lead again. And look, the favorite again is going to be on the lead, which is a good thing if you're playing against favorites. No clear pace advantage here. So it looks like IRAD is going to try to maybe battle with Luis on the 3 here, according to the system. And then everybody else should be a little bit further back. And so this is interesting, because if we look at the win percentages, the highest win percent is 26% on Lady J, the 1 horse that's going to be coming off the pace with Paco. And was actually my top pick in the race was the 1 Lady J. Mike, where'd you end up here?
I went with the 5 on top. Super All-Star. Mark Cassie's been doing very well. He's a trainer that knows the synthetic very, very well. And so I like taking him over the synthetic. This horse ran a really nice race 2 back to break its mate. And it actually got another horse got DQ'd. He got put up. She got put up. But here we're getting second off a layoff. And one of my angles that I like, look, Union Rags is a really well-known sire. Union Rags, not good on turf. We're talking like 3% on turf. Not amazing on synthetic. It goes up to 7 or 8%, about 15% on dirt. Anytime a Union Rags horse leaves the turf, I'm much more interested in that horse. And last time out, Union Rag, this horse, or this daughter of Union Rags, ran on the turf, ran well, didn't have a bad showing of herself. But you see that GSR difference right there, 56 on the turf. The race before that on the synth, 64. We're going back to that 64 synthetic, dropping a little bit in class here. I think the 5 is an awfully live shot here.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And we look at the race 2 back at Gulfstream, was placed first in a DQ. And so, and now we're going back to the synthetic after turf didn't work out again. And so, Mark Cassie's dangerous. He races on on the synthetic up at Woodbine. So, he trains for this type of surface. And Cassie and Gonzalez, let's look at their win percentage together. 29% on 101 mounts. That's not a small sample size. that's pretty good. And so, if you think a favorite wins about 1/3 of the time, you're not going to get even money on this horse. You're going to get like 3-1, 7-2 probably on a trainer jockey combo that's winning at 30%. And so to me, that's very good value. I definitely included the 5. I had on my pick 3, I went 1, 4, 5. Now that I'm wheeling back my pick 5 ticket that is now dead. So
yeah, I agree on the 1, so we don't need to go too much into Lady Jane, I guess. I mean, to me, that horse makes a ton of sense in this spot.
I think so. I think she definitely trips out, and now we're also getting back to the synthetic for her too. And we saw those efforts, 3 and 4 back. Really made a run 3 back. Actually won 4 back with Sammy Camacho up against about the same type of group, a 56 group. This is a 54.
Yeah, and has actually improved every start too. I mean, each of those efforts has gotten a little bit better. Now we're getting back to a surface I think this horse prefers. Barbosa's been very good in these type of spots. The horse made the lead last time out too with Paco, and I think that was probably a learning experience. First time Paco riding. When you see a horse make the lead and then get caught, it kind of means that, sometimes, to me, a couple things. First off, sometimes horses don't perform as well once they get to the lead, and the jockey kind of needs to learn that and when to push the button. I think that's the case here. When you watch it, Lady J got a little bit just kind of disinterested when she got the lead last time. So I think that Paco will be able to handle her a little bit better. And again, like you said, back to the synthetic, look at that GSR jump again. We're going from 53 up to 61 again. So I think that's definitely a nice step forward. Other horse that I used here was the 8. I thought Isa Bonita made a ton of sense here out of the Sweezy barn. The horse, I think, has faced better the last 3. So $40,000 allowance, $25,000 allowance, and open $20K. We're state bred 16 here. So I feel like we're getting a little bit of a drop in class. I think the style fits very well. I mentioned the Gaffleone has been riding the synthetic well. Sweezy's been having a pretty good meet at 14% as well. So I think kind of everything is all systems go here. And I'm trying to beat the floor again, who I think is going to be toward the front end. Now, all that being said, if you go back to that main screen, neither of us use this horse, but I'm a little scared of this 2 horse. I mean, if you look at all the different metrics here that line up, so, you got a morning line of 6-1, that's 11-1, but the EE morning line is 3-1. So the EE morning line was half of the regular, 19% win percentage. There's just a lot here that's pointing from an Equinedge perspective to the 3 horse. It's also a 2 horse. It's also listed as the long shot. So the 2 may be a good one to include in some tickets as well.
Absolutely. And especially at 19%, we're going a little bit less in the GSR by about 10 points from turf to synthetic on this horse, but you can't argue about the price and it being the EE long shot play and 19%. I mean, sometimes the favorites are 19% win. EE has this horse at 3-1 and a price play. So, damn me if I don't use this horse. It's kind of the other Cassie angle. The horse is double his morning line and EE loves it.
And Jaramillo has ridden well, and the horse should sit a pretty good trip here. So I mean, let's all right. Let's chuck the 4. Let's play a pick 3 here. Let's chuck the 4. We both like the 1. We both like the 5. Let's go 1, 2, 5 to start this puppy out.
Okay, throwing a little budget there. 1, 2, 5. Yeah, I guess the one thing that was keeping me off of Sweezy's 8 here is I don't believe we've worked since the last race. Yep, last race was on the 16th, and no works for a month for this horse, at least no works posted. Yeah. And so I guess that was a little bit concerning to me. Really the only thing that's keeping me from really liking the 8, because as we can see with the pace number, the 8's probably going to have one of the better late kicks in the race, and we've been seeing horses come from way off of it on the synthetic track. So we'll go ahead and get you guys a pick 3 going before this race gets off in 8 minutes. Leg 2, let's just go ahead and start talking about race 8 now. We're going 6.5 on the dirt now. Top pick is probably going to be Music City Star. It's probably going to be favored over EE loves Brambleberry, though. We'll talk about look at this
too.
Look at this. 5-2 versus 8-1. From a class perspective, Music City Star is probably going to be bet. I'm guessing that's who goes off as the favorite. But if we can beat the favorite in this race and beat the favorite in race 8, we should be live to a decent score in race 10. Mike, I know that you're against Music City Star. Who do you like?
Yeah, let's just throw for three favorites out. The first three races we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I like Brambleberry on top. I have Brambleberry as what I consider lone speed here. I don't think Music City Star is nearly as fast as Brambleberry. I think Brambleberry is going to go to the lead and be tough to catch. And let's say that someone does decide to press Brambleberry. I actually like the 2-horse Corey the most next, who's going to be coming from off the pace and shortening up. And this is one of those spots where you see that 30% win percentage in a 6-1 morning line. You just took some quick math, right? If 6-1 wins 30% of the time, you are profitable. So hopefully that percentage is pretty good. But Corey, if you look at those last 3 races, all coming out of mile races, we're shortening up here. I like horses cutting back from a mile to 6.5, especially if they can stay somewhat close to the pace. And if you look at those last couple of races, we're a couple lengths off the pace, going a mile. Going to obviously be going a little bit faster. You're 6.5, but I think you're going to have the most run left from the 2 Corey. So I'm hoping either the 5 Brambleberry can wire this field, or the 2 Corey can fly from off the pace and get it done.
2 morning line prices, 6-1 and 8-1. I love Corey. This horse loves Gulfstream Park too. 4 for 9 at Gulfstream Park. Has hit the board in, let's see here, 7 of 9 starts at Gulfstream. And so likes the distance too, I think, in the cutback. So the horse is going to have the foundation. We know that. Horse has gone a mile the last 3 times out and raced in November, December, and January. Now we're going to cut back to a mile. We've got the speed horse going up front with Brambleberry that's going to press Music City Star, which the EE system says is a need the lead type. So if Sweezy and Gonzalez can give Davis and Ortiz hell up front, then Corey's going to be absolutely sitting that same trip that we just saw the 4 sit in the previous race.
Yep. And if you look at those morning line edges again, E morning line on the 5, 5-2, 8-1 on the current morning line, E morning line on Corey 3-1, 6-1 on the current morning line. So their E is agreeing with us here that there's some significant value in both the 2 and the 5. I agree with you. I think the 6 gets over bet in this spot. I'm going to try and beat the 6 and see if we can beat the favorite 3 times in a row.
And the horse has bat class. We can't argue with the bat class of this horse coming out of Arlington Park, racing on the turf. This horse is now going to the dirt. And since moving to the dirt, has not really performed at the same level, and the win percentages have reflected it. I mean, the EE win percentages have been dead on with this horse, 5%, 4%, and 7%, where the horse was 31, 45, 13 when it was racing on turf and synthetic. And so I'm almost surprised that this horse isn't on the synthetic track, coming out of Chris Davis's barn. But he gets Jose Ortiz, who has been just lights out, winning everything at Gulfstream, it seems like. I think this is a bad chalk, though. I think for sure bad chalk. Let's make sure we don't miss anything here. I really wasn't interested in the Saffy horse. Nothing really popped out to me. I felt like the horse is kind of getting, banged up against a group similar. They keep on changing up distance. You get Gaffleone. I don't know. I wasn't too interested. The system likes it a little bit at 23%, but there's only 5 horses in this race. And then We Miss Susie was probably the next one on my ticket if I was going to really spread, but I don't want to spread. And so she's not getting on there. Jane Sabelli's been tough, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that's stepping up in class, too. I mean, going from 25 non-winners of 1 to 62,500 non-winners of 2 is pretty tough. So I just think there's a class issue with the 4 horse. I mean, anyone could win, obviously. It's a 5-horse field, but I would lean toward taking the longer prices here in this spot. And when you look at the daily doubles of race 7, which is about 4 minutes to post here, into race 8, the 6 is a pretty heavy favorite right now. $7 double from the 4-6, so the 2 favorites. The second choice right now is the 4, and then you have pretty much anyone you want, 3, 2, 5. So we actually might get a price on the 2 and the 5 in this spot. So I like going 2-5 here.
Okay, we'll go 2-5, and this ticket's not going to cost us very much.
It could pay too. I mean, because we're trying
to. Well, that's why I hit the all button in my pick 5 here. So, yeah. All right, we've got some money to spare. I don't want to use 5, 6 horses in this last leg, so this ticket's not even going to be $15. Could be closer to $9. Let's see here. All right, I landed on the 9 and the 10 here. We're going a mile 70 on the synthetic. A few scratches definitely played a part in this, but there's not a whole lot of pace in this race. But it's on the synthetic, so it really doesn't matter, I don't think. I love this horse, Valero. This horse ran on the synthetic last time out at the similar level, a 58 SOR, almost got the job done. You get Gaffleone, like we've talked about a couple of times here on the turf, or excuse me, on the synthetic. Then I also like this horse, Our Country. I think a lot of people have forgotten about this horse because they kind of just didn't do a whole lot with him after he ran in the Breeders' Cup back in 2019. I remember I was at Santa Anita watching this horse and was highly touted for, I think it was the juvenile fillies turf, juvenile turf. But now, we get a race over the Gulfstream surface. after a year layoff. And if you look back, this horse ran very well off of a year layoff previously. And so, we have that foundation built. We got the win under our belt. Now we're going synthetic. I mean, this 10 horse was almost a single for me at 7-2, but I wanted to include a little bit of the 9 Valero in there as well.
Yeah, so the 9 and the 10 are my top 2 picks as well. I was joking before the show how we're going to have some similar opinions here. If you sort by GSR, you can see the advantage that the 10 horse Our Country has here. And then just a pile on top of that, that win last time out was at Gulfstream Park over the turf course where you want to be speed. They went 24 and 3/49 seconds. So they went slow for the first half mile. Our Country was 4 wide on both turns and was still able to close from 6th to win that race. It was a monster race for a return. If we improve at all, the running style should fit perfectly into the surface. I think Our Country at 7-2 is a great price there. So I was 9-10. I liked a little bit of the 1, the 3, and the 3 and the 8. I was 3-8-1 in that order. The 8 is a 10-1 shot. I kind of like the price on the 8, and the 3 horse I think has a legit shot as well. So if we want to include 1 or 2, I wouldn't argue with that. But 9 and the 10 are my top 2 picks in here.
Yeah, I think so as well. And, we'll see how they take to the synthetic track. I don't believe that Our Country has ever run on synthetic to my knowledge. But if he has anything like his style on the turf course, then this horse could actually tower over this field. And so we'll see what happens. We've got about 1 minute to post. Looks like they're kind of circling there on the track. So there's our pick 3 ticket. I'll go ahead and finish this up here. Let's go 10, 9. Who was the other one you liked, Mike? If you were going to throw a long shot in there,
throw the 8 in there.
The 8 in there.
Rally Squirrel, baby. Good name.
Yeah, all right.
And we got
Squirrel.
So we got about what is it, 0 minutes to post here. So real quick, we went over this. The 1, the 5, the 1 that the 2, the 5 are the horses we're going to use. I would say if you're playing an exacta here, I like the 1-5 exacta. I had the 5 on top here in this spot. I have the 1-5-8 going in the pick 4 and the pick 5, and Brady's got the 1-4-5 going. So similar opinions on the 1 and the 5 there. Those would kind of be the horses that we're going to lean on here. We're trying to beat the favorite specifically because, again, you don't want to be on the lead over the synthetic course at Gulfstream. I would probably include the 4 in the 3rd spot in a trifecta. I think that the 4 could definitely hold on for a piece of the pie, but I think it's going to be awfully tired for that one or awfully tough for that horse to get the W.
Yep. Having a little technical difficulties here with loading. So, we'll go back so that everybody can see the ticket. Now it comes up. It's kind of like, I'm the tech guy that's like, hey, just unplug it and plug it back in, and it might start working. Right. There's our ticket, guys, for $9. Let's see if maybe we can beat some of these favorites here. In leg 1, we went 1, 2, 5, trying to throw out Irad Ortiz Jr. and Carlos David. And then in leg number 2, 2-5 here, a 6-1 shot with an 8-1 shot, hoping that maybe Music City Stars back class doesn't show up. And then in the last leg, if Our Country doesn't win, we think maybe Rally Squirrel or Valero has a good shot. They're heading over to the synthetic track now, so we'll get you the live feed. And good luck to anybody who's playing these tickets.
Yeah, and let us know if anyone playing any win bets or tries or anything like that. We'll definitely try and get those rooted home. I think Nick brings up a good point here. Look, I don't mind playing the 5-5 double here, and then the 5-10 double in the next one, or the 2-10 double, depending on which way you want to go there. I think this is a great opportunity to play daily doubles since we are trying to fade some of the favorites here.
Yep. Looks like Lady J is actually going to share favoritism with the 4 horse here. That was my top pick, the 1 at 5-2. Let's see if maybe we can get some of these home.
I'm punching a quick little 5-5-10 pick 3 because got to do it.
Absolutely.
The 5-5 double is paying $21 right now. I mean that's a pretty darn good price in my mind on those two horses.
Yeah, I'm about to be snowed in. Oh my gosh, I just looked out the window. You guys have to see this. This is insane.
You're not supposed to get this much snow, man. You're living in Indiana.
Look at this. They're already closing school for tomorrow. I'm probably going to close my office and be here, capping Gulfstream, or working from home. I like how people have taken this work from home thing to a different level, and we can go live on Thursdays at 3:00. So
yeah, it was 76% of the workforce no longer wants to go to the office.
Yeah,
yep, no way.
Exactly.
Couldn't have seen that coming.
All right, John likes the 5 horse here. That's the Cassie runner. So good luck, John. Bill's got an ice cold exacta 5-1 here. So a lot of love coming in for this 5-horse.
Yeah,
I am getting lake effect.
No, man.
You've got that right. Yeah, I get all that stuff that skips Chicago. It comes my way.
Yeah, you get the back end of it. That's the worst side of the storm.
It's the worst. Yeah. So, okay, looks like 2-1. We're sharing favoritism. We've got the load and Pete Ilo with the call.
And they're off.
Oh, man. A 3 is not going to make the 4's life easy. The 3 was stretching out from turf sprints, so you're not surprised you're going to see speed there. But I mean, the way the 4 wins this, you get a slow pace, and you're getting anything but a slow pace here to kick it off.
I just see Paco down there on the rail just licking his chops right now. They are moving up front.
I will say this. I'm happy that we have the horses that are in the last 4. This is a suicidal synth pace here.
Surely driving each other into the
22 on this synthetic. That might be as fast as I've seen going a mile 70.
I mean, horses are quitting going 24-2, and they just went 22-3.
Ahead of Super All-Star, who improves at the inside.
So this is. I have a feeling there's going to be a pace collapse.
Causing a have a ton of pace ahead of them as they make their way.
Are they going to go 45?
Senseless drama on
if these fractions are right,
they're already done.
Look
at this. They're already getting reeled in.
Wow. As Paco sitting back in last still. He hasn't moved. The 2 moved. The 2's got the jump on him.
5 is ripping out if he's good enough. I mean, the 5 might be going too fast. That's the thing.
Come on with this 2. Come on with this 2. Look at the 2 going. The 2 passy horses.
Yeah. 2's going to wheel.
Here's the other horse from the Live Oak Plantation. It's causing a hullabaloo. Circling horses and on the move. Isla Bonita, Starship now.
Oh, he's coming up the rail now.
Or is he not running? Come on.
He's got to get
here
going.
Comes the long shot play. The 2 Cassie horses. Come on with this 2.
It's going to be
Come
close.
on with this 2.
It's going to be close.
They continue to battle for Live Oak bragging rights.
Come on.
Outside causing
you
a
can't
get by.
No way.
He just can't get by.
Oh my God.
Super All-Star.
That's okay. I feel like we nailed that race pretty good.
Yeah, Cassie. Something was off with the 1 horse there, Lady J. I mean, she fell back in the 2. I mean, she just didn't run today. But glad we used that 2 horse that was a 10-1 morning line, 8-1. Oh, just couldn't quite get the job done.
And this is interesting too, because this was neither of us were on that 2 horse. And then we looked at that Equinedge and there were 4 different things pointing to it. And it's like, oh, no, we got to include that 2 in the pick 3. Obviously, nice to get that 5 horse home as a top pick. But man, it would have been nice to get that 2 horse home at 8-1 too.
Absolutely. Hopefully you guys are live in the pick 3 there. Man, if you guys had that 2, I feel for you. Oh. Man, just with the pay, we thought the 5 moved too early.
Yeah.
It's everybody's got their internal clock, and I'd like to interview a jockey sometime and just say, hey, do you guys know? Do you guys hear times or anything like that? They don't hear anything. I would imagine you can't hear Pete when he's calling a race while you're riding a horse at 40 miles an hour. And so maybe we need to start putting up like shot clock types of things that display the fractions so the jockeys can see them. If anybody knows any info on that,
I kind of like the fact that you have to have the internal clock, man. Like I kind of like that these jockeys have to have the ability to understand how fast the horse is going. I mean, you could get crazy. You could have this might be fun. Like pit crews. You could have the trainer in the ear of the jockey, send, but you have to play it on the actual feed so you can hear what the trainers are saying. That would be a little
making an HBO show, inside the locker room kind of thing. But man, if you had the 3 or the 4 there, wow. That's brutal for you guys because
Mark, I hope you boxed up that try because that try is going to pay nice there. This exacta $20 exacta box, that's going to pay too. It's going to look good. So nice. Glad some people cash in on this one.
Cassie on the synthetic, guys.
I like that.
Wow, man, that would have been nice for the 2.
4-1 too. I mean, that is a heck of a price on that 5 horse.
Yeah. If we go back here. We see from the pace advantage. So it had the 5 a little further back than the 2, but we actually swapped those based on how they actually ran. I mean, great price play there. So long shot play of the day. I mean, that horse made you hold your breath if you didn't have it. I'll tell you that. And that's what a long shot's supposed to do. Gonzalez and Cassie, 29%. Let's see if they did any changes. Cut back a little bit for the 5. Not much. Gets Harmio on the 2. So, top GSR horse was stepping up in class. And, the EE morning line and the live odds were about right in the middle there. And, wow, amazing. Amazing ride there by Edwin Gonzalez.
Just so people understand too, because Brady and I did not like the 2 going into that. If you want to flip back to Equinedge real quick, just to show the reason for that. So if you look at the EE morning line, they're 3-1, and the off odds were 8-1. So like right there, the morning line difference from 6-1 to 3-1 kind of pointed us to that. On top of that, the 19%. So you have multiple angles you're pointing to this horse, as well as the EE long shot. So it's those 3 things all lining up are the reason why we ended up on the 2 there on the pick 3 ticket, even though neither of us really loved the 2 going into the handicap.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not love the 2 at first look. If you look at that horse on paper, you're looking at, last time out ran, with Sean Bridge Mahan twice at Gulfstream on the turf, finished 5th, finished 3rd, doesn't really have much that's that impressive. But Jaramillo got back on. So Jaramillo rode this horse 4 back and actually rode the horse 4 times in a row, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. And showed a lot more, actually shows some closing ability. Yeah. So, look for that 2 next time out. You're probably not going to get 8-1 though, after that effort.
And that's first time on synthetic for the 2, causing a hullabaloo. And Cassie's a 23% barn, switching from turf to synthetic, and 22% overall on synthetic. So some good numbers there from the Cassie barn as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's your payouts here. The try only paid $100
for 50 cents. It's a $400 try for $2.
Yeah,
that's not.
I thought
bad.
It'd pay more than that. 5-1 over 8-1 over 9-2, and you throw out Irad and Paco, who were 2-1 and 3-1 respectively, and Luis Saez. Yeah. That's a little light.
This is interesting to me right here. I'm surprised we saw that Saez Irad speed duel. Usually, you don't have those 2 go at it. It's like when Pratt and Rispoli go at it. And it's not that common because they understand they're killing each other.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, come on. We're calling it all day long on this synthetic track. I mean, when I saw him go 22, I was like, this is over. Like, take your pick of the closers. And, man, when Edwin made that move, kind of around the far turn, we're like, it might be too early still. And then I saw the 2, and I thought the 2 was going to just absolutely maintain his momentum, but she didn't. So there you have it, a $10 winner and a start to our late pick 3. I'll go ahead and put that ticket back up just so people can see it. You don't have to spend a lot to make a lot in this game, guys. I would say some of my biggest scores have been on some of my tickets that didn't cost all that much. I mean, from playing just like a $25 pick 4 and singling every leg versus, all the times where I'm hitting the all button. I have much more success playing these little, plot along tickets for higher denomination than I do trying to catch a bomb on a 50-cent play.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm known for Hammertown, man. That's what I think is the best possible way. Press your opinion, right? If you like horses, press it and press it hard. Like I played a pick 3 there. I went 5, 5, 10. There's just single. If I'm right, that thing's going to pay. And it's why I'll play $5 pick 5 tickets that cost $40, $20 with 2-3 singles. I think it's a great way to try and get big scores. Because you know what? It's a heck of a lot easier. I don't think people talk about this enough. Let's say there's a $100 pick 5. It's a heck of a lot easier to have a $100 pick 5 on a $5 ticket, so that pays back $1,000, than it is to hit a $1,000 pick 5. And if you're going to, if you want to extrapolate that out, it's a heck of a lot easier to hit a $300 ticket pick 5 for 50 cents on a $5 ticket that pays $3,000 than it is $3,000 pick 5. I mean, it's so much easier to do that because you got to, if you're lining up 7-2 shots, 5-2 shots, you can make it pay. You just have to be right in those races. It also costs you a lot less money. Because, I've seen a lot of people playing 50-cent tickets that are 180, 240, right? Where you play a $5 ticket and you play it for $40 or $60, when you connect, man, it feels great and it pays.
Absolutely. And, I'd give advice to people where if you are playing the spread ticket, let's say it's Breeders' Cup Day or it's Kentucky Derby Day where, you're trying to catch one of these bombs. And if you do, it could be a life-changing score. If you're hitting an all button, why are you still using the favorite? Because if the favorite's winning in those legs, it's not going to pay maybe what you spent on the ticket. And so I'm a huge fan of tossing favorites in those spread races, but you have to decide, is this a single race, a press race, or like a spread race? And when I'm spreading, like in this leg 2 here, race 8 at Gulfstream, we are not using the top 2 picks, an 8-5 shot and a 2-1 shot, because it's a 5-horse field. And if we were to use those horses, we may get our money back if we hit the ticket. And that's if we hit the ticket. And so we use 2 horses that are half their morning line now. Brambleberry's getting some attention as other people think he's going to be on the lead. And then Corey is also getting bet down just a little bit from the 6-1 morning line. I expect the betting to continue there. But literally, we don't have the 3, the 4, or the 6 here for ticket structuring reasons.
Oh, yeah. And this is also a terrible all race. And sometimes people will be like, no, this is a good all race because there's only 5 horses I can get at the all cheap. The problem with this all race is that none of the horses give you positive expected value if the highest odds is 5 to 1. You have 0 options to actually improve your odds on this race, right? Because if any of the 5 to 1 shots won and you used all, you had 5 horses, you got 5 to 1 on the horse that won, you essentially broke even for that leg from an ROI perspective. I mean, there's a couple things that are finicky about it. It's not a dead on science, but like, to me, if you're going 3 deep and you're using horses that are all under 3 to 1, that's a negative leg, right? Because you have no positive outcome there. You don't have a 10 to 1 shot when you're going 3 deep. So in a 5-horse field, this is one of the best times to separate yourself if you don't like the favorite. And then hitting the all button here, when you like, my top 2 choices are not the 2 and the 5. If I hit the all button, I'm essentially diluting my own opinion because I'm not getting the correct value for liking those 2 horses by including the favorites.
Well said there. So hopefully you guys played along with our ticket. We're live, got a 4 to 1 shot home, and now we're going to try to get another 4 to 1, 9 to 2 shot home into 3 horses in the last leg. This pick 3 could pay decent if we can just be alive into the final leg. And so
I wouldn't mind getting the 2 or the 5 home for this pick 4 that we gave out at the start too, because that $30 pick 4 would be live to 5 horses without a favorite winning those first 3 legs. So it'd be nice if we can get that puppy home too.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to do our best to root it on. I'd love to see Sweezy in the winner's circle again. Was in the circle with him on Sunday with So Suave. Horse just got Irad up for Sweezy, which is my new angle. It hasn't happened in a while, but I think it's going to start happening more often, I hope, because they win together. But, that was really cool. But let's do it again, Kent. All right, let's go back to Fairgrounds and talk about Risen Star Day. We'll go back here real quick. We've got 19 minutes to Gulfstream. And so we run the Pass the Plate race. Now we're on the mile and a 16th, grade 3 mineshaft stake. Some old familiar names here. Midcourt, Miles D, Olympiad, Silver Prospector, Bezos, Title Ready. This is kind of the have-nots of the hype horses.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get favoritism to Miles D. Jose Ortiz is coming over to ride. This is actually a wide open race. Mike, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is what I like to call the Boulevard of Broken Dreams stakes, right? When you have a bunch of horses that are just a step below what you think they probably should be. And that's kind of what do you kind of just feel here, right? Is that these horses all at one time were off to something bigger and better, and they're just not right here. I think I agree with you. I think this is a wide open race. I think you have to respect the speed here of Olympiad. Looked great in mile 16th last time, getting a 101 buyer. Ran well at Saratoga. Obviously, that Baby Yoda race came back, and Baby Yoda freaked that day. And the numbers for that race I don't think are accurate. But Olympiad has taken a step forward in every race since then. So I think you really got to respect Olympiad, especially going 2 turns here. Untreated is really interesting to me as well. The biggest issue or biggest concern is the 2 turns. Only gone 2 turns twice in his career. That was at Tampa and Keeneland, and that Keeneland race especially wasn't great. But that was also against Essential Quality in the Bluegrass. So you can kind of make some excuses there when it's Essential Quality, highly motivated. Rombauer, those are much better horses than we're facing today. Last 2 races were both excellent races. Nyquist has been a great sire. We're getting 3rd off the layoff for Pletcher, 9-2 price. Don't love the post position, but I do think the 10 could be sitting on a big one here.
Yeah, you're going to get a nice price there. I think that probably float up a little bit higher than 9-2. Great GSR on that horse, Pletcher and Saez, which I'm having a really hard time getting on the right side of them recently, at least over the last year. It's like whenever I single Louis for Pletcher, he's just, he throws in a tank effort. But then if I'm like, no, I can beat Saez here, then he romps like he's on a 1 to 5 shot at a price. And so you have any jockey nemesis right now?
Oh, man. I mean, Mitch Merle is my forever jockey nemesis because
bet Mitch get rich.
No, if I bet Mitch, I get poor. And if I don't bet Mitch, everyone else gets rich. He's like, I can't. He and Kenny McPeak are my issues right now. I can't get Kenny McPeak right. I can't get Mitch Merle right. Honestly, it seems like when Mitch Merle's on a favorite, you don't bet him. When he's on a long shot, you can play him. And kind of Kenny McPeak's the same way. Bet him when there's a long shot. Don't touch him when he's a favorite. But yeah, they're my general nemesises right now, or nemesi. One thing I don't love about Untreated, and it brings up Miles D, which we have a couple people comment here. The Ortiz brothers are leading Untreated. Saez gets them out. Jose Ortiz ends up here on the 5-horse Miles D for Chad Brown. 4-year-old son of Curlin had a ton of talent last year. This is first off of a long layoff. Does the layoff concern you with Miles D? If not, that horse has every chance to win. And last time beat Speaker's Corner, who obviously came back to win. Seems like it's turned the corner last race for Speaker's Corner as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Speaker's Corner was very impressive on Pegasus Day. I was able to see that race live in the Fred Hooper and was pressured in between horses, 3 across, and Fearless had every opportunity to go by into a fast pace and couldn't get past Speaker's Corner. And so I think that's definitely an upgrade for Miles D to hold that horse off, last time out at Aqueduct. I think Chad will have this horse ready. The works look fine to me. I don't think, they've been working this horse pretty much every week consistently without any interruptions in training. So that's always something that I'm looking for is, hey, did we have any setbacks? Did we have to skip a workout or anything like that? Ortiz is coming to town. This is a hard one because if you don't single Miles D, then, I'm tossing, Obezos. Like, yep. I'm not interested in that horse. That horse had his chances last year, was kind of overhyped. Who's the one horse that maybe can steal it on the front end? That's Olympiad. I think that these are probably going to be your top 2 horses. Olympiad does take a lot of money, though, every single time. And so 25% win, it makes sense. Does this horse need Lasix? Maybe. Ran in the Cigar Mile without Lasix and, finish well back in 4th. I don't know. This is a race I'm still kind of trying to decide on, I think. We'll see if there's any scratches. From a GSR perspective, all these horses are very well bred. You got Big Dreaming as the long shot play out of Catalano's barn. 85 GSR, only 4% to win. This horse is probably going to need some pace up front to run into. Man, this is a tough race.
I think both of the rail horses, the 1 and the 2, are both price plays for me personally. I like the 1 horse, Sprawl, a horse that's done very, very well at the distance, 4 for 6 at the distance, and has races that are good enough to win. Should be tactical in a race that doesn't have a ton of speed. And Fairgrounds, it can be a conveyor belt, right? So you want to be a little bit more forwardly placed. I think Sprawl definitely is dangerous in that sense, and it looks like Oldie's agreeing with me on that one. And then 2, Silver Prospector. Look, this horse showed a bunch of talent at 3, showed some talent at 4, 2 for 5 at the distance with 1 second place finish, career high buyer at this distance, second off a layoff. And I don't think you can understand how big of an upgrade going from Santana to Rosario is.
That was your nemesis last year.
There is look, I think Rosario is a wildly talented jockey. He makes some of the most bonehead decisions on horses, but is wildly talented and can get a horse to finish. I consider him one of the top 4 jockeys in the world. I'm not knocking Rosario on a talent perspective. It's just sometimes I'm like, why are you sending that horse? Why are you not sending that horse? I don't get it. So that's more of my issue with Rosario than anything around the talent. But this horse should fit pretty well. Again, tactical speed early, great finisher late, second off a layoff, second as a 5-year-old. There's a bunch of reasons why Silver Prospector could take a step forward here.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had a 10-minute conversation with Rosario at the Eclipse Awards last week. Really awesome guy. And I was just asking about his style of riding. I said, hey, how do you decide, when it's time to grab versus when it's time to go? And he goes, I just kind of do my thing. He just gets a feel for it. And I think there's nobody better than Joel Rosario when he's sitting on a horse that is getting a pace collapse in front of him. If my horse is coming from off the pace and I need a strong closing kick and a strong rider, I'm going with Rosario every single time. But, we were talking about the Pegasus race as well. And, I said, hey, did you expect the Stiletto Boy to outbreak both of you guys? And he's like, no, that was surprising. And, I was like, well, it might have been even more surprising to find him on the rail too, after a couple of strides. But Joel's really nice guy, really fun to talk to. I talked to him. I talked to Brad Cox for like 20 minutes. Oh, and nice. So him and I had a few bourbons together and talked about everything under the sun. So I want to get back to the Eclipse Awards.
That's incredible, man. Real quick, the best compliment I can give to Joel Rosario, he is if I had to pick one jockey not to be chasing me down when I'm on the lead, it's Joel Rosario. Any other jockey coming at me in second. Joel Rosario is on the list of the people I do not want on that second place horse trying to catch me in the lane.
Oh, I know. And I needed him to not do that to me on Pegasus Day because in the contest, I had a huge play on 4 Graces, which Julian was riding the 5 horse in that sprint race. And Joel was on the first time Cox from Parks horse. I forget what that horse's name was. It was the 8 horse. And I looked to the outside. I'm like, man, Julian's getting this perfect trip up the rail. He's going to angle out. And he did exactly that. And we're yelling, come on, Julian. And then here comes Joel just absolutely striding down the middle of the track like under a gallop.
It's the worst when you look at the form, too. You're like, who is that? Oh, shit. It's Joel. Like, not anyone but Joel.
You're like, hang. Oh, no, he never does. So Nick says Rosario is easily the best jockey to exact a box with, bar none. Yeah, sometimes he's always running late. And he's one of those guys that never quits either. He never, shuts your horse down.
He doesn't stand up on the mount like Paco does.
I know, right? Well, that's tough when you're betting verticals because we're all trying to figure out, okay, it's hard enough picking the winner. I think picking the winner is way easier than picking the third place horse, though. And so, you got to look at jockey intentions, got to look at riders, how aggressive they are. It comes into play when I'm selecting a vertical is, do I think that this jockey is going to shut my horse down if they're not going to win? And, we don't get to hear trainer insight or, riding instructions, but, sometimes a trainer will be, okay, maybe we need a race today. If we don't have a perfect trip, let's save him for the next race. That can happen. And so, maybe that means that horse running third or fourth instead of second, if you're trying to play a vertical. So the verticals get absolutely crazy. And that's why people make these big lifetime scores and contests in the verticals because they can be kind of hard to predict.
Be a little wonky.
Yeah, you have to be. Let's wheel it back to Gulfstream, Mike. Look who is favored. Bramble Berry.
It's the E money, man. The Equinedge money is rolling on in.
Money is coming in.
Who did it?
It would be fun to do an EE pool scoop sometime. So let's look here. I'm looking at the will pays now. As far as the pick 3 goes, the 4's a slight favorite over the 5 and the 6. And so the will pays are definitely hinting that the 5 is going to be taking a lot of money. The daily doubles has the 6 favored by a few bucks over the 4 and the 5. The 2 and the 3 are kind of the outliers here in Corey and Mesery's side. And so, a lot of EE money going on this 5-horse Brambleberry. Sorry, Sweezy, if we killed your price today, but it comes with the territory. All right, bro.
I'd say it's more likely that Sweezy killed his own price than we're.
We should call Kent right now. Say, hey, Kent, did you just bet this 5?
Well, that's why I'm like, if you look back, the pick 3 were co-favorites with the 6 horse, the double. He's actually the third choice. The 4 and the 6 are shorter prices. So we'll see what the actual off odds are here. But, when we put together the pick 3 and the pick 4, we talked about why we like this horse. I mean, Brambleberry should be a lone speed here. Gulfstream Park going 6.5. You're awfully dangerous when you're lone speed. And we're hoping that Brambleberry can essentially wire this field. The other speed is the 6 right to the outside. But I just don't see the 6 being as fast. And if the 5 can get loose here, the 5's going to be awfully tough. He's 5 for 9 at Gulfstream, or she's 5 for 9 at Gulfstream. You got to love that. She's run this distance 2 times, a win and a second place. And this is another one where, look, it's really easy to just throw out the last 2 races. Okay. This is a horse that 2 and 3 and 4 back won. And then 2 back was a $100,000 stake spread optional race or restricted stake spread race. And ran to our Adios Jersey, who, by the way, is wildly fast. And so that's why we didn't get the lead in that race.
Georgina Baxter.
Yep. And then last race, we're on synthetic. Chuck it out. And if you throw out those 2 races, this is your best horse in the field. I think the 5 is a deserving favorite. I don't think the 5 is going to go off as a favorite.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We'll see who cancels their bets right before post time. Really, we don't know what the odds are going to be till we're like halfway around the turn. And so at that point, we'll let you know who's favored. Let's look at this. Corey's 30% on a horse that is getting really no love at the window. This is now your highest price in the field, but 30%. I don't know. I think a lot of people are saying, well, he's coming out of mile races. Maybe he's just going to be a little too far back. But I think this shortening up actually makes him tougher because now, a horse can only sustain their run for so long. And so this horse is going to have the foundation. You get Lannery on the rail, which is where you want Lannery. Yeah. When I was at Gulfstream, Corey. You get Corey on Corey. This was Sunday when So Suave won. Chad Brown had a 2-5 shot that had lost to the Pletcher horse Favor last time out. Looked like this horse was absolutely going to romp. I played a $200 straight pick 3. And I got the first leg. All I needed was this 2-5 shot for Chad. And here comes Lannery McPeak barreling down the rail at 45-1. And yeah, the 3 horse. I forget what the horse's name was. And then I had it into the 9. So Suave, which ended up winning with Ortiz, would hit the pick 3 400 times. But I don't think Irad even saw Corey even coming up the rail.
It didn't matter either. They were just that was a collapse race. They went too fast up front and just couldn't keep it going. And I wouldn't be shocked if you see a similar thing from Corey in this race. And if you kind of dig back through some of the past performances here, I mean, this horse has tried 6.5 furlongs 5 times, won once, 3 seconds. So it's not like the distance is an issue. And you go back and you look at some of those races. Last time we went 6.5, the pace was 23:46. Corey was only a length off that pace, right? Time before that, they went 22 and 1:45. Corey was a length and a half off the pace, right? So it's not like this horse doesn't have speed. It's just the horse has been running in longer races. And when you have horses that are cutting back into the 6.5 furlong distance from a mile, I much prefer horses that showed speed at those or release a little closer to the pace. Corey has sneaky speed to kind of stay in touch with this field. And if Corey can stay in touch with the field, and the 5 and the 6 both go, and the 4 also has some speed, that could set up for the 2 horse to be able to just swoop on the inside and take this thing down.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the reason why we went 2-5 here is because we thought if Brambleberry can clear Music City Star, we might have just a gate to wire, thank you very much, we'll see you in the winner's circle type of ride. But if the 5 and the 6 go up front, we're thinking, okay, who's the most likely closer here? And we think Corey's going to set that trip. Yep. And I hope he stays on the rail because that's where he does his best running. I'm looking outside right now, and I think I literally live in a snow globe. I mean, this is nuts. I'm really glad that I'm back in Indiana right now and not at Gulfstream today, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
It's brutal, man. When I got back from Pegasus, it was the same thing. A day and a half later, we got this snowstorm. I couldn't get out of my garage or my driveway for 3 days.
See, it's your fault. You just keep traveling. If you don't travel, the snow wouldn't come. But then they're like, oh, you want to travel? We got something for you.
I have to work every once in a while. So, but when we have these snow days, Gulfstream gets all my business. So I guess it works out in the end.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's a good racing day. I mean, we've got a nice carryover in the pick 6 at Aqueduct. We've got a decent Gulfstream card. Like tomorrow's actually a pretty good race day. Today you got it's a little light, but tomorrow's a good one. And I think Oldie here is live. We've got Fairgrounds up too, live to the 3 horse in the pick 5. They're about to go off at Fairgrounds. So good luck, Oldie. I hope that one gets home for you. We've got about 4 minutes to post here at Gulfstream. Do you want to go over one more of the races before this one?
I'll head back over to Fairgrounds because they're going to post drag a little bit. And Oldie had a comment about Largent, and we can talk about that race if that's the next one on the turf here. It is the Largent race. So Oldie's comment was he thinks Largent, second off the layoff, is his single in the pick 5 sequence. Have to watch some more video on the Chad horse. Largent last time, I think, let a lot of people down. Largent was supposed to prep for the Pegasus in the tropical turf and absolutely threw a clunker in there.
Yep.
And so I don't know. You had a year layoff. I expected a better effort because a guy like Pletcher, I mean, look what he did with Colonel Liam. This horse ran like a quarter of a length off of Colonel Liam maybe last time. Yeah, at 0.25. There you go. In the Pegasus World Cup turf last year. Colonel Liam doesn't need a prep race. Pletcher horses, I don't think they need a prep race. And the horse failed the test at 50% win and absolutely let a lot of people down that singled him. I'd be weary. I mean, I'm trying to beat Largent in this spot. I think, you're going to have some pace in this race. We'll have to talk about this maybe a little bit more in depth, but I think there's a number of price plays that are coming in, and I don't like any of the speed horses, and I'm trying to beat Largent because I think he's probably going to go off at like 9-5, 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, like 40 under. Obviously, the horse all the way on the outside here. 2 Emmys, I'm going to probably be against both of them. I think it's going to be pretty tough for anyone to try and go wire to wire. I mean, 2 Emmys are 100%.
You're not going to go 52 like you did at the Arlington 600,000 race.
No, but, Halo again, another one I don't love. I mean, to me, like Hamo is one of those that I'm kind of staring at. Like, if we're really going to get 9-2 on this first time Pletcher who was facing St. Mark's Basilica overseas, like that's a darn good horse that he was facing overseas. And Chad Brown, 39%, first time North America. Like, there's a bunch of different things that point to this horse being a monster. Got brought over by Michael Dubb and Madacat Stables. That's a very good ownership group when they're bringing these horses over. 92 seems like a nice price here on the 6 at Hamo.
Yeah, I agree. All right, just checking on Gulfstream. They're still circling over there. Yeah, 2 Emmys, I'm going to play against almost every single time now because this horse is always going to get money now after the Arlington Million heist is what I'll call that, because James Graham absolutely stole that race on the front end. Largent's going to have to get back to this old form. He's raced in races. I mean, I'm surprised. Look at this. The SOR for this race is 2 less than the Pegasus World Cup turf from last year. And I almost I think that's right, because it wasn't really that tough of a field outside of Largent and Colonel Liam. There wasn't really much. Another twist of fate, cross border, and it's really not that tough of a field. So I'm going to probably look somewhere around maybe one of the closers. This Chad horse is somebody you're going to definitely want to look at. Michael Dubb, Jose Ortiz, and that super long stretch. And as we know how Chad's horses really like to run, this horse has just absolutely been, running in some Group 2s, Group 1s, Group 3s over in Europe. And, the Fairgrounds turf course is definitely going to be to this horse's liking. So I'm going to watch a few replays on this 6 horse at a Hamo out of Ireland. We got 0 minutes to post, Mike. We want to head back to Gulfstream now.
Yeah, let's do it. We're circling here. So we're live to the 2 and the 5. So I think that's who we're rooting for here. Brady, who's live in your pick 5 there?
So in the pick 5, we've got, let me pull this back up here. I had the all button in this race here.
You got a little bit of everybody
in my 50-cent ticket. So
you're moving on.
I'm moving on. No, unfortunately, race 2 kind of knocked me out. So
wow. I've got the 2 and the 5 here in my pick 5, the 2 and the 5 in the pick 4, 2 and the 5 in the pick 3. So hopefully we can get the 2 or the 5 home. I just realized how stacked up I am on these 2 horses.
It would be nice. I played a pick 3 too, where I just have 2-5, and so that's alive to the 10 in the final leg, and then I have 1 also alive to the 9 and the 10 in the final leg with the 2 and the 5 here.
So hopefully we can get one of these 2 home here. I'm interested to see how this plays out, because the 5 is the fastest. The 4, the 5, and the 6 all want to be forwardly placed. I think I'm shocked the 3 is 9-2. I feel like the 3 should be like 15-1 in this spot. I like that one is the one that probably surprises me most from a price perspective. And then it's can this 2 roll on the rail, and is it going to get the pace set up to be able to get the job done?
Yep. Looks like Greg's playing the 5 on top here. Brambleberry with the pace advantage, thinking Lannery is going to run late or Music City Star is going to hang in there. A lot of times at this Gulfstream track, it is a merry-go-round. So, but he's also worried about the 3 more than the 2 for the win, the Safi. Tell us more about the 3, Greg. What scares you about the 3?
See, this is the one I couldn't get to. I mean, I 2 for 9 at Gulfstream, so that's good. But like the best races come at 6 furlongs. Best races come in the slop. The numbers don't really line up. Lost to a couple others in here. Like the 3 was the one that I couldn't get to. No. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out some type of angle for it. It's maybe if it collapses, this horse can be better than the 2. I think that's really the only way that could be super dangerous. I agree,
Carlos wants the 2. Let's get this 2 home. We want to see this happen like the last race, except the 2 doesn't hang this time. The 2 gets it done. So come on, Corey Lannery. He usually wins at 30-1. So, but this is a 5-horse field. He's only 5-1. Maybe that's
like 30-1 in a 10-horse field, right?
Yeah, it would be.
I'm surprised the 4 is the favorite. I thought the 6 would be the favorite. I'm kind of surprised here that the 5 is going off at 5-2 as well. I thought we were going to get a little bit nicer of a price.
We miss Susie.
All right. Let's see if this 5 can break on top and try to take him gate to wire. If not, we want Corey up the rail.
Yeah, let's clear the 5 or have a 3-way pace duel.
And they're off.
Oh, the 3 jumps.
3 just for Mercy side. She was about 3 lengths slower than the others. Music City Star was away alertly and right to the early
try to rush him up. Looks like Brambleberry did get an uneasy lead, but a clear one now.
Interesting choice. The 6 backed off there too. You saw his heels go up. So that meant that they were slowing down the 6. I'm kind of
Aggressive
surprised that
leading
they're
the
trying
length of
to
the
hold him off
quarter.
instead of send him.
Yeah, me
Miss
too.
Susie is
This is
third.
good news
Corey
for the
a
5.
bit closer
Looks
now.
like
Foot
Landry's
on
got
hold.
Corey in a nice
The
spot
trailer is
too.
Merseyside.
Surprised that he
22 and
swapped
1 for a
places with the
legitimate
4. I
opening
figured
quarter as
Landry
they
would stay
swing
on the
around
rail.
the 4 turn. It's
Well,
Brambleberry
he
in
also
front.
is holding that
Music
2 up.
City
That 2
Star
had
trying
run
up the
there.
heat while second toward the outside. Corey's
Looks like
now
he still has
third.
run.
They've
Yeah.
got Wee Miss Susie locked in. She's
I mean, he's not even
someplace to
asked a
go.
little bit on
The
this
trailer
2
is
yet.
This
Merseyside
is
past the 5/16.
this is scary
On
if you don't have the 2
outside,
guys.
3 wide. Corey, 2 path. Music City Star.
Looks like
Brambleberry
Edwin's
is
scrubbing
next.
on the
Trying to
5
thread the
now,
needle
and
is Wee Miss
Jose's
Susie.
about to get
Fourth
headed
in
by
stone range.
Corey.
There's 4
Come on,
chances.
dig in
Edwin opens
here.
up a little bit. Come on, Landry. Come on.
Come on, dig in.
Brambleberry,
5-2.
Now there's an
Corey.
1/8 of a mile to go.
5-2.
Brambleberry finding what
5's
she needs.
gone.
She leads by 2. Music City Star
Absolutely.
trying to
Man,
make a
that 2
late
did not have any
impression,
kick in the
but
lane, but we'll
Brambleberry
take this
just keeps
5.
rolling,
Let's
and
just keep
Brambleberry
beating
from
favorites,
Rising
baby.
Sun Racing
There we
Stable
go.
goes
I
down
love
the
it.
road to win by 2
Brambleberry.
over Music City Star.
Was that an 8
second,
to 1
Corey
morning
third,
line?
8 to 1
That
morning
one,
line.
the 5 to 2. Equine Edge had an EE morning line of 5 to 2. See, that's so deadly in the system, because the system's telling you about what every horse is going to take at the window. And if you look at this race particularly, it's almost spot on with every single horse. Great job by Edwin Gonzalez. I wonder if you ask Jose Ortiz if he regrets maybe not pressing the 5 for the lead.
It didn't make any sense. Like when you saw those heels go up, it's like, why are you giving this to the 5? You're going to let him get a breather in the second quarter. And that's exactly what happened. You had that pressure early, and then he just took a breath around that turn. And when you opened up to the stretch, you made a little ground up, but he was able to open and just not get caught.
Yep. There we go. Boom for Sweezy. The Sweezy barn is heating up officially. So let's keep it going. Yeah, Greg, 45, and they both ran on, going 6.5. And so that was the merry-go-round that we were talking about.
Well, and that's why we were talking about, like, the 2 may get the setup here, and it looked like Corey was going to fly by at the top of that turn because Landry had a nice hold on him, but they kind of re-broke down that stretch. And the 5-5 double hits, that's great. We've got a nice pick 3 going. The pick 4 down at the bottom. We're 5 live to a $30 ticket. Hopefully we can close that out. Hopefully people have some 5-10 doubles going. That's not a bad double either. I think that double paid.
It was like $20.
20, I think it was 22, something right around there. So,
well, the horse was played in the wheel pace, so I think we credit that to the Equine Edge crew. I think everybody was hammering that. So we're going to be alive to a decent score, I think, depending on if you guys played the pick 3 for 50 cents or for a few bucks here and there. But I'm just looking at the probables now. The 8, 9, and 10 respectively, with the 5 doubles paying $50, $37, and $21 for $1, and we'll have the pick 3. So I'm expecting this pick 3 to pay maybe $100 or more.
Maybe that was $22.50 on that double. So you got almost 23 to 1 on those 2 horses, those 2 5s back to back, 4 to 1 and 5 to 2, 23 to 1. That's pretty darn good. Hopefully we can close this puppy out and have a day, man.
All right. Looks like Greg's got the 5-10 double for $40. So there we go.
I'm excited.
Everybody's home today with a snow day, I think.
I'm excited to see these pick 4 wheel pays, man.
Yeah.
Because I think we had 3rd choice in the first race. We had third or 4th choice in the second. That was 3rd choice in the third. I mean, it's not big fields, but hopefully we can get a little bit of money here.
There we go. Nice winner circle pick. There's Tom. There's Sweezy. There's Edwin. The whole group's down there. So, man, I should have stayed another couple of days.
Yeah, back to back for Edwin there.
Oh, yeah. Good for those guys.
All right, let's see what.
There you go. I mean, and the Brambleberry had to work to get that lead too until Jose pulled back. I mean, they went 22, 44, almost 45. They went sub 45. Jeez. And then carried on. So maybe watch out for the Sweezy barn. But if we click back here to the system, I just want to show everybody in case you didn't see it. Morning line 8 to 1 was the longest shot on the board. Now let's talk about the 1 here real quick. The 1 scratching took some major pace out of this race. And so, before this scratch, the 1 I think was definitely the clear pace. And so Brambleberry can thank Safi for scratching the 1 here. But as we toggle the morning line odds with the EE morning line, 5 to 2 is the fair value according to Equine Edge on this horse. And the general public agreed. And, a lot of people with their handicapping on paper, you don't see that. A lot of people will say, oh, well, this horse, the track announcer doesn't like this horse because he's an 8 to 1 morning line. I'm not even going to give him a look. If we look between the lines, look a little bit closer, we saw we had a pace advantage. We had a top GSR. We had an EE morning line differential about as big as you'll see. And the horse, opened up at the top of the stretch, and we're alive to cash a ticket. So do we have the will pays up yet, Mike? It looks like it's official.
Yep, we do. So the will pays, the pick 3 for 50 cents is paying $118.70 to the 8, $138 to the 9, and $63.30 to the 10. And then for 50 cents, the pick 4, we're live to the 1 for 800, the 3 for 270, the 8 for 521, the 9 for 574, and the 10 for 248 off a $30 ticket. Be nice to get one of those puppies home.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what I call, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday Gulfstream is building bankroll days, so that way we have bullets to fire at Fairgrounds on Saturday for the big card. And so we will continue to build our bankroll now. Looks like Saez is opening up on Perfect at 5-2, and Our Country opened up at 9-2. So we'll see if we can maybe get one of these home. And the favorite in the pick 5 is going to be the 5. So, yeah, it should be an interesting last race. Congrats to everybody that's live. Let's hit this ticket and move on to the next time. Let's go back to Fairgrounds now, guys. We have a couple more races to talk about on Risen Star Day, and then we'll circle back here for the finale at Gulfstream, and then we'll sign off for you guys until next time. But we just talked a little bit about the turf race and a major Derby prep coming up for both Oaks and Derby prospects. And these are the two races that I'm most excited about by far. We got Hidden Connection coming back. I know, Mike, you've liked this horse since before the Breeders' Cup. And so it's going to be interesting. Do we try to beat Hidden Connection here? We've got Turner Loose. We've got Lacrete that I think pose major threats to Hidden Connection here. Where are you leaning right now, Mike?
Oh, man, look, I like Hidden Connection. I think Awake at Midnight is pretty interesting. The 9 horse as well. I think this race is absolutely wide open. I mean, I think that you could go a lot of different directions here. I'm not looking for anybody at too short of a price. You've got a lot of horses that are just interesting, trying new things. I mean, North County's undefeated, but I'm probably going to play against North County there. Rosario and Ashley Sincer probably have the lead there on the road with Lacrete, who I think looked awfully good both races. So I'm probably going to play Lacrete at 8-1 if I get anywhere near that. And I think the price horse that's interesting is California Angel, the 10 horse here. Daughter of California Chrome, broke her maiden really impressively over the Kentucky Downs turf course and came back, ran 6 furlongs on the dirt, ran well, won the Jessamine, a grade 2 on the turf, and then went into the Breeders' Cup, filly mare turf, and didn't run that well. She had some issues there. But her last race that she ran on dirt, she was 4-1. She took the blinkers off for the first time and was inside and did not like that trip at all, was throwing her head around, had wanted nothing to do with it, and just didn't run well. It's a classic draw a line through that race, and you watch out. Now, you can tell by the GSR, she's significantly better on turf than dirt, and that's probably the one big concern here. But the fact that we're going back to dirt, I think, is interesting. So I'll probably take a little bit of a shot here with the 10-horse California Angel.
Yep. This horse was very hyped after the win at Keeneland and shipping out west for the Breeders' Cup last year, which didn't really work out for her. I'm going to say I'm against Hidden Connection here, especially at the price that I'm going to get. I love playing against 2-year-olds that I feel like just turned 3 that have already peaked, maybe. And I don't know. This horse, for me, I'm wondering how much more room there is to get better. I'm against this horse because I think she's probably going to be your favorite. Lacrete, huge pace advantage. Rosario's been getting so many of these speed horses. And I love Rosario as a rider, but he's not my first choice when it comes to like a speed horse. And if we look at a lot of the speed horses that he's been on recently, we think of Nick's Go, we think of Jackie's Warrior, just to name a couple. Those horses broke themselves. It wasn't Rosario that's like such a masterful gate jockey that's breaking those horses. Those horses typically broke with the pack, and then after about 3 strides, then took the lead. And so, I don't know. Let's see if he can break. The 90 GSR is absolutely fantastic, especially for this distance, going 8.5. We've been proven there, at the maiden, have already won across the Fairgrounds track, which is important to me. And third start, we should be getting the peak effort here. Turner Loose was another horse that I was kind of, trying to figure out if I liked or not. And, the Breeders' Cup effort was pretty bad on the turf. Now we're going to the dirt. And so it's a 70 GSR. We're a little bit worse on the dirt than we are the turf here for Cox, but it's hard to count Brad and Flo out, especially when we see the EE morning line differential from 12-1 track morning line down to 5-1. So EE is telling you that the odds maybe should be a little bit better on this horse than 12-1. So I'm going to definitely give Turner Loose a look in this race as well.
Yeah, and Turner Loose could be one of the pace presence as well, or pace pressure horses as well. That race in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, that race fell apart. I mean, Pizza Bianca was weaving through traffic to be able to get there, and no one who was up front early was up front late. So I'm willing to draw a line through that and just say they went way too fast early for her. And Nyquist good on both turf and dirt, so I don't have much of an issue there switching over. AP Indy on the bottom, obviously a pretty good dirt sire. So I think the 7 Turner Loose has a shot, especially if the 1 doesn't break as well as I would expect. My biggest knock on the 11 Hidden Connection is that post. It's going to be tough to go from the 11 post and clear over when you have the 1 with some speed, the 7 with some speed, the 9 with some speed. I mean, if the 11 wants to try and trip out here, you're going to be 3-4 wide in that second flight. And that's just not a great place to be 2 turns, first time out as a 3-year-old. So I kind of agree with you, diving more into here. I think I'm against the 11. Awake at Midnight, I think is really interesting. Awake at Midnight should be able to show some tactical speed here. We're coming over from California. Those last couple of races are a little shorter. I don't think that there's going to be any issue with the distance here. Going the mile and a 16th. O'Neill has done very well with these horses when they come over from California and they run at Fairgrounds. He did it last year with Hot Rod Charlie. We'll talk about a horse he's doing it with next race as well. I think Awake at Midnight is going to be a pretty live horse in this spot and should get a lot of pace to chase and be able to get kind of the rail behind that first group, which is a really deadly spot to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Looks like we have a question that's about tournament play. Sylvian, I have a question, new customer. How do you decide which horse to play in a tournament? That's a great question, because the answer to that question is whichever horse is going to win you the tournament. If you ask Justin Mustari, you play the 19-1 shot in the last leg of the NHC because that was the horse that could get you to first place. And so, Mike, I know you play a lot of tournaments. I play a lot of tournaments as well. And, when you're deciding more late in the tournament than early of maybe, if I have a chance to win, I have to play this odds of a horse or I have to get to a number. Mike, I'll speak for me first. I usually have a number in mind. Let's say it's the Pegasus tournament. I thought $10,000 was going to win that tournament. And so all of my plays were keyed around, if I can hit my number at 10,000 and that doesn't win, I'll be okay, say, hey, it just wasn't my day. But I think 14,000 ended up winning that tournament. But going into the last race, if you're playing to win the tournament, you have to make a play that at least gives you a chance to get there. Because the last thing you want to do is, say you like a horse, but it's not going to get you to a seat at the NHC or Ultimate Betting Challenge or BCBC, because that's the value out of the tournaments, the extra prize money and the extra incentives. And so, Mike, if you want to kind of piggyback off of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on what type of tournament you're playing. Brady's talking about live bankroll tournament where you get a certain amount of money, let's say $2,000. You're trying to turn into as much as possible in a single day. That definitely is a little bit different, where you're looking for your opinion and how you can hammer your opinion in the best possible way. I tell people when they're playing those for the first time, you should put all your money on the 3 horses you like the most that day and figure out, make sure you really press your opinion. If you're right, you have a day. If you're looking at a pick and pray, for instance, and we can use this race as an example. So if we're playing a pick and pray where it's a win place tournament and you're just looking for win place money and you got to kind of lock it in before you see those final odds. If I'm looking through here and you see the morning line, I'm immediately throwing out the 9, immediately throwing out the 11 because they're too low of prices. So I'm looking at horses after that. I'm looking at speed normally in tournaments because I think speed generally is just better. I would probably end up with Lecrae here at 8-1, or I would, consider probably not the 7. I kind of look down deeper. Maybe the 2 North County at 10-1 or 8-1 would be an option for me as well. But Lecrae would probably be my play in this spot because I'm getting 8-1. I'm getting the speed, getting a horse who obviously is really well bred here with the GSR, and it's also the long shot. So I have multiple algorithms here that are pointing to the 1 Lecrae, and it's a front runner, which is a horse that I'm looking for in win place tournaments because I generally want horses in front versus coming from the back.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And, you have experience, finishing in the top 10 at the NHC where on Saturday, you had to play horses at a certain price to get you to Sunday.
Yep.
And so if you're doing that, 3-day tournament like the NHC, you have to play horses. Because I remember my first NHC was last year, and I realized I wasn't playing high enough odds. I was trying to find these 6 to 8 to 1 shots because I felt like, man, if I can string together all these winners, then I should be where I want to be. And then 150 to 1 shot happens, and you hit a cap horse, and you feel like you're behind the 8 ball because I would have to hit 6 horses to get to where that cap horse just did.
Yeah,
and
you're
so
chasing.
I learned from that, and it's hard enough to pick a winner, but if you get your cap horse to run second, you still might be making up $10 to $15 dollars of ground, maybe even $20 to place. If the favorite doesn't finish in the top 2. And so, with the NHC, playing bombs is definitely the way to go. In the regular, like horse tourneys, horse players, where there's an 8 to 10 race card, I'm trying to find a few singles that I would be betting that are maybe 7 to 2 to 5 to 1. And then I'm trying to find a couple cap horses. And, if you have, a 4-horse field where there's a 1 to 5 shot, taking your $4, if you don't think you can beat that 1 to 5 shot, is some people's strategy, but I don't think that's great because Mike told me a long time ago, if a long shot wins in like a mandatory race and you don't have that long shot, 30 other people did, 40 other people did. And you just lost that much ground in a mandatory race.
Your equity that you are losing by playing a 1 to 5 shot in a 4-horse race in a pick and pray with 10 races. The problem is that 90% of the people won't play that horse, and you gain $4 on 90% when you're right. And when you're wrong, you lose $30. And so the opportunity cost to gain the 4 versus losing the 30 is just way too great that in the long run, getting those $4 is just not beneficial enough to have to give up the opportunity to gain 30. So for me in pick and praise, if you're not 8 to 1 or better, I'm usually not even looking at you. I will just to kind of figure out the pace, but I want prices because you need to be able to stack up. It's a lot harder than you think to hit 5 to 1 winners in 10 optional races. And that's what you need to do, to pick 5 to 1 winners all day. It's
and if you're doing that, you might want to play a $10 pick 5 if you're doing that along the way to cash.
Not that freaking easy, man.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll head to the big race now. Let me go back to the system. Race 13. Here we go. The Risen Star, 3-year-olds, Derby Trail. Smile Happy and Epicenter are probably going to be your favorites. So Papa Cap, we're going to keep Papa Cap in second and then figure out who the winner is. What are we doing here, Mike?
Well, flip over the morning line real quick. I haven't seen this yet. That's a terrible morning line. Smile Happy should be 6 to 5. I mean, you're going to get 6 to 5 on Smile Happy on race day, right?
Yeah.
This horse is going to get absolutely hammered because of how good the Kentucky Jockey Club races come back. Saw Creative Causeway absolutely air in a really impressive performance after putting up some pretty solid fractions. We saw White Barrio, who ran 3rd in that race, come back to win. Call Me Midnight came back to win the first prep at Fairgrounds. There is 0 chance 7 to 2 will ever happen on Smile Happy. I think fair odds on Smile Happy is like 8 to 5. This should be your favorite right now in the Derby pools, and it's a deserving favorite. And so I do think that Smile Happy is a pretty good favorite in this spot. And I said this on the Magic Mike show. I'm going to say it again here. I am rooting for Smile Happy so hard to go into the Derby undefeated, so that Corey Lanery and Kenny McPeak on a closer can go off at 2 to 1 in the Derby, and I can bet against that horse. That's all I'm rooting for.
Oh man, there you go. There you have it. The Lanery angle again. No, I was hanging out with Corey Lanery and Colby Hernandez's jockey agent on Saturday, and they love the horse Smile Happy.
They should.
But it seems like every year McPeak gets one of these horses, and they get hyped. And McPeak on the big days is usually a play against for me. McPeak when he's trying to clean up, at Churchill on the non-big days, I think this horse deserves to be favored, and this horse is impressive. I'm just waiting for the McPeak moment, is what I like to call it, where, it's just not that impressive anymore. I'm not saying that Smile Happy is that horse, but I'm still waiting for it. Let's talk Papa Cap a little bit. You came up with a nickname for this horse. Aren't you calling this horse the Hot Rod Charlie of 2022?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it reminds me of, right? Like, it's just this horse that kind of comes over from California, ran well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and just, is going to be kind of second. I thought Papa Cap was interesting because I feel like Papa Cap more than anything showed us how bad that Breeders' Cup Juvenile was. Had every possible opportunity to get past Epicenter, and just could not do it last time. And I don't think it's any better trip versus Epicenter. Epicenter took a ton of pressure. Papa Cap sat the trip, got the rail run, which is, by the way, where you want to be at Fairgrounds. Couldn't get by Epicenter. Never was getting by Epicenter. They'd go around another time. Papa Cap couldn't do it. I don't want anything that was in. Maybe you could talk me into Command Performance because that, there was a bad trip in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but I don't want anything out of that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. To me, this is a spot where I think Epicenter probably makes the lead, but faces a ton of pressure. Smile Happy should win. I think Smile Happy is the best horse in this race. I'm probably going to eat chalk on the day and figure out how to get some value in some other legs, hopefully. Slow Down Andy, I think, is the most interesting horse in the race, though. I don't know what to expect from Slow Down Andy. And I'm not sure what price Slow Down Andy is going to go off at. You know what I mean? This horse beat Messier last time out.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that again. This horse beat Messier last time out. Now, that was at Los Al. Los Al is a funky track, right? Longest stretch in the country. Messier's 0 for 2 at Los Al, 3 for 3 everywhere else. So there's some questions around whether or not you're getting Messier's best effort at Los Al. So that's really going to determine a lot of this. Look, if Messier was at his best in that Los Al race and Slow Down Andy beat him, Slow Down Andy should be the favorite in this field. So it's another interesting horse to me. And then this one you could say is also this is going to be a good barometer, because if Slow Down Andy comes here and loses by 3 or 4, we can say that the California crop is probably worse than the East Coast crop. And this is going to be a good barometer for what conference you want moving forward. Is it the Pac-10? Do you want the SEC of horse racing? What areas should be focusing on? Mm-hmm. This will probably be a good measuring stick.
Yeah, and we are going to find out with Slow Down Andy, because Doug O'Neill shipping over tells me that he wants to avoid the Baffert horses that aren't taking any points. Mm-hmm. And so if you think about it, once we get to the 50 points and the 100-point preps, if Baffert horses still are not eligible for points, why would you run? Because essentially, if you run for second, you're not getting first place points, to my understanding. Is that correct?
No, you get second place points.
They go away.
Yeah.
If a Baffert horse wins a prep and it's 50 points, you get your 25 or whatever, 20 for second. And so if you don't want to run against them, and Bob's still running his horses to win races, that's what he does, regardless of if they're going to the Derby. There's been talk that this might be the most loaded Preakness of all time.
Let me see.
Unless things happen, through the court system in time. But yeah, the Slow Down Andy horse, it's interesting. O'Neill ships him out west or out east here because he thinks his horse is good enough. Los Al, Futurity, I don't usually take a whole lot of merit into that race just for my Derby preps. I think Uncle Chuck won that one a year or two ago and didn't really pan out once he faced Tiz the Law in the Travers, but we won't talk about that. But anyway, yeah, Slow Down Andy is going to be tough. Mario Gutierrez is flying out for Redham Racing, always rides for them. It's going to be an interesting race for sure. I think I'm probably going to try to find a double with Lecrete into this race. We didn't really touch on Epicenter. This is another horse that Rosario is going to try to take to the front for Winchell Thoroughbreds, one of Asmussen's best ownership groups. And so I didn't want this horse to beat me either. Rosario at 4-1. But no, this is a race I'm definitely looking forward to. Zandon, I thought you had to give a shot. I remember in the Rimson up in Aqueduct, this was a race that I think you were tossing Zandon and the horse that beat him last time out. Is that right? I don't think you liked that race at all, did you?
I hate the Remsen, man. Yeah. I think it's generally a terrible race, and the figures come back all funky because there's not a bunch of 1.125 races for 2-year-olds at that time of the year. Right. It's one of those races where it's like, you got to show me what you do next year, because the whole Aqueduct circuit I generally throw out until they prove me wrong. And the last 4 years they've not done anything in the Derby, so it's a pretty easy chuck for me. And Zandon is one of those where if Zandon wins, I lose, and I won't even lose any sleep over it.
Hey, that's the way to play. And then there's Brad Cox and Flo that are going to be 12-1 again. In both races, they're 12-1 in the Oaks Prep and the Derby Prep. 2 for 2 coming out of Turfway Park. I think this horse is going to need a major step up.
Just look at the GSR drop there, right?
53 down from 72. Yeah. They are taking a shot here. Maybe I should have told Brad Cox, had we had the draw before at the Eclipse Awards, hey, don't run this horse on the dirt. Yeah, hey guys, I'm available. All right, let's go back to Gulfstream. We got 3 minutes to post. Perfect is your lukewarm favorite at 3-1. Looks like Our Country is taking some money at 4-1. Man, if I wasn't live in the pick 3, I'd probably be pounding some win money on Our Country here. And I'd also be using Valero, the 9 horse underneath. I think Valero has a chance to win. But I think in the exacta is where I can maybe get some value off the 7-1 shot at the 9.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the 9 and the 10 were the top 2 picks. I love the GSR and the 9 here. I think the 9's been forgotten and is coming out of much more difficult races. That last race, we talked about it, 4 wide on both turns, running into a slow pace and closing to win at Gulfstream Park is a really, really good effort, especially first off the layoff. We're getting second off the layoff here, and this trip should set up perfectly for what you want on the synthetic. We're not going to get that 22 and change pace we saw last time. I bet we're closer to 24 and 2 this time. So we're hoping that our country is sitting 4 lengths off the lead mid-pack and able to just make a nice big swooping run around the turn here and just run them down in the stretch and end this show on a pretty high note here. We're 5 live in the pick 4. We're 3 live in the pick 3. A lot of 10 doubles out there. I know I've got a big 5-5-10 pick 3 going here. So hopefully we can finish this puppy off.
Yep. No, absolutely. Looks like they're on the track now. Nick Feldman likes a 9-10 exacta, paying 60-1. Oof.
Is that right?
I mean, is that for $2, Nick? Or
9-10 is $60 for $1. The 10-9 is $53 for $1.
Sorry, Nick. I bet that's probably going to go down to 23 now that we released it. So, all right. Looks like Devil Dog likes 6-9-10. Wow, that was for $1. That's amazing, Nick. Yeah, I hope you have it, but I have a feeling your price might be going down right now. So, thanks for sharing that. That's wild. So yeah, if I was playing this race, if I wasn't live, I'm probably going 10-9 straight, and that's paying $51. The 9-10's paying $60. Wow, I mean, this is a great betting race. My God.
Yeah, I mean, the 5 is taking a ton of money, and rightfully so. I mean, the second off layoff for a 5-year-old, ran on the synthetic last time, close into a tepid pace. We'll see what happens here and where the 5 is placed. I actually have the 5 as possibly being on the lead, and that's one of the reasons I didn't like him. I thought the 5, the 6, and the 8 were all going to be forwardly placed here and might kind of make life a little difficult for each other. The 8 with Paco generally wants to come from just off it. So I think the 8 is the one that backs off. And I wouldn't be shocked if you see the 5 and the 6 out there up front, kind of get into a little bit of a tussle, and we'll see what happens there. The 1 also could show some speed, but Castellano has been sending over this track. So I'd be surprised if the 1's on the lead. So I think you're going to see the 5 on the lead, and that's just not where you want to be here going a mile and 70 yards.
Any love for Safi's horse, the 6 here, Alado? This was one that I kind of overlooked. You get Edwin, who's obviously riding well today, but I thought the horse figured at least to hit the board. Maybe not a win candidate for me, but maybe somebody who can blow it up underneath.
Yeah, look, the last workout's great. We're switching barns here from the Sano barn to the Safi Joseph barn. To me, that's a pretty lateral move, although Safi's got a little bit better numbers this meet right now. He's 24% first time with a trainer. Back-to-back 3 furlong blowout works is what concerned me. I'm not looking for horses to go back-to-back blowout works and then run on the synthetic, because when you're going 35 in the morning and you have some natural speed anyway, it makes me very concerned that you're going to go to the lead. And that's again, the 5 and the 6 to me, I did not use because I think they're going to be forwardly placed in this spot. And I just don't want 2 horses, neck and neck up front. I would much rather have those horses mid-pack, back in the pack, that are going to get a better trip into the bias in this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you the one trainer to really watch out for here in the synthetic is this Martin Drexler. I don't think a whole lot of people have heard of him, but he claimed a horse that we were watching last Sunday, and he won on the synthetic at a price. This guy's dangerous, and so you're getting 8-1 on this Meyer horse that Jose Ortiz is riding, and so I wouldn't be surprised if this horse, at 8-1 surprise some people in the trifecta.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great betting race, and that's why you can go so many different directions. I'm
against IRAD here, though. I don't like this 3 horse for Gargan. It's the second pick. I hate the mantra of, well, the best rider sticks around for the last race of the day. He sticks around for the last race every single day. So don't give me that.
Yeah, there's certain riders that definitely didn't used to. Like in California, Gary Stevens didn't, and sometimes that was a tip-off, especially when it was a maiden race. It depends on the race, too. I think that makes a big difference. I wouldn't be shocked if the 3 wins. He's one of the ones I included on that pick 4 tickets. I wouldn't be overly surprised if 3 is able to get it done here. They're walking over onto the synth, so we'll flip over to the race here. Yeah, I mean, 8, 9, or 10 here would be great. Obviously, I think we got a lot of 10s in the room. So, man, if this 10 can get her done, that would not be bad at all. From the 7 perspective, you mentioned Drexler. You got to keep an eye on some of the Woodbine trainers that are now coming down and running on the synth, and that's Drexler. He's a Woodbine trainer who has a lot of experience over synthetic. It's why Cassie's been doing so well at the meet. A lot of experience over synthetic from Woodbine. I think you really got to pay attention to those guys down here. I talk about turf sprints. One of the stats I like to look at is trainer turf sprint percentage, because it's like a specialty, right? It's like a 3-point shooter in the NBA who has a high 3-point percentage, but doesn't really do much else. I feel like synthetic is almost a specialty training surface as well. So I think it's important to look at a trainer's numbers specifically over synthetic.
All right, Elliot's asking the 3 isn't the 3 lone speed? No, I don't think so. I think the 3 is going to come from
Alvarado to the outside gate.
I would expect the 5 and the 6 are going to be out front here, but we'll see how this breaks. This is definitely the most murky pace race of all the ones we've watched here today. You could have multiple horses that are on the lead. There goes the 5.
Could start out wide for Rally Squirrel, who heads off for the year.
Paco's going to press him.
And
the Sappy horse is going too.
Yeah. Don't love our 5 wide trip there on the 10.
5 wide. Yeah, we're 4 wide on the 9 and 5 wide on the 10. Looks like Tyler's going to the rail now on the 9.
The entire field separated by 4.5 lengths as they chase the speed of
because everybody outbroke the 10. The 10 could have tucked in right away after the break.
Yeah. Well, they're not flying up front here. This is going to be, what, 24-3, 24-2, 25-2. Wow, they're going slow.
Between horses in the white and red colors, and
hoping on the surface it won't matter.
Yep.
We saw Irad in the last race yesterday closing to just an average pace from last.
They're also turning up the heat on each other here in the second quarter.
Our country's on the far outside. Meyer is between horses, seizing the dream is along the rail, and the trailer remains Vallejo. They put on some speed.
There we go. That's a 24.
Yeah, Gaffleone's trying to put this 5 away. He's going to say, "Come catch me if you can." I'm glad.
The inside tries to kick with him second.
Yeah, let's get this 10 moving.
Yeah, come on, 9-10. You got to go catch Saffy. Don't let him get the jump. He already did.
There's our 8 too.
Yep. Come on, 10.
Alotto committed for home now under Gonzalez. He
Gonzalez hasn't even hardly moved on this horse.
No.
The closers are coming. Here comes the 10. Come on, 10. Come on, catch this 6.
Someone go get him.
Still finding and leads by 2.
Went too slow.
They did. There's the Drexler horse for second.
Yep.
And then Villarreal for third.
Meyer was second. Third.
Bummer.
Fourth, our country.
For sure. There's the EE long shot play.
Yeah,
and that's where the pace. We had that horse sitting second. Saez went. There wasn't enough pace in that race than what we've seen previously, and so we saw 2 races back, an absolute suicidal pace up front, and that was an absolute collapse. But good riding by Edwin Gonzalez there to read the pace and say, "Hey, I'm just going to go take this lead," and he got clear.
And Edwin closes out the late pick 3. 3 winners for Edwin there, back to back to back.
What did that pay? Edwin. Let's see here in the will pays.
$60.25. Second choice. The 5 and the 6 were the 2 favorites in the will pay. So we're trying to get around favorites again, and that time the speed held. He was able to get her done. And that's that first check. 25-2 was a problem. When you saw that go up, you're like, we don't want it to be that slow. Yeah,
absolutely.
Edwin's good on synth and turf. I like him on both surfaces.
Yeah, they kind of went against the track bias there, but hey, the pace absolutely played a factor. So.
Yep.
But all right, guys, thanks for joining us for a little mid-afternoon Gulfstream action. Got quite a few viewers today, so we appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the show. Hit us up on Twitter. We will probably see you next week. Not sure which day yet. We might go back to the night track. We might try this again, but give us some feedback in what you guys want to see, and we'll be sure to give you the content. So good luck with all your guys' plays if you're playing Risen Star Weekend. And we'll see you next time on Good Chalk, Bad Chalk.
Take care, everyone.